In the world of boxing, it was almost a big day in the world of boxing in here this morning with Mr. Souness taking on both Simon and myself, but we enjoyed that. Tyson Fury going in against Alexander Usyk in Riyadh this weekend, but alongside that, a whole host of boxing stories for us to touch upon, and nobody better than co-host of Fight Disciples podcast, Nick Peet, to join us at this stage. Nick, good afternoon to you, mate. What about women's boxing, Nick? Has it alighted upon its next big British fighter for years to come in Lauren Price?
Yeah, she was absolutely magnificent. You know, main event down in Cardiff on Saturday night, live on Sky Sports, and she just lit up the show. She's been a little bit unassuming since she turned professional. She hasn't had the right opponents. We've had a lot of excuses because she was this outstanding amateur, won everything in the amateur game, as well as, of course, playing for Wales in football too. But she's just flattered to deceive a little bit. But she always said, listen, when I get to the top, when I get into a world title fight, judge me then. Well, we're judging her on Saturday night when she became a world champion. She got a 9th round stoppage over an established champion in Jessica McCaskill as well. She looked brilliant. You are absolutely right, Jim. A star is born.
A star is born. Elsewhere, I cannot pass by this story. This is an absolute cracker. Vasily Lomachenko, just when you think the guy is in the twilight of his career, he comes back and stops George Kambosos Jr. in the 11th round to win the IBF lightweight title over in Perth. And of course, we know he's been away on literally fighting for Ukraine, but now he's back and he's done this. I mean, there's nothing this guy cannot do, it would seem, Nick.
No, he's phenomenal. You know, let's be honest. He's one of the most talented fighters of this generation. You know, he's doing all this outside his natural weight division as well. You know, he's more of a featherweight, super featherweight at best. This is up at lightweight. He's now a 3-weight world champion, a 4-time world champion. This guy truly is one of the best fighters of this generation, the best amateur boxer we've ever seen, of course. Multiple Olympic gold medals, only one defeat in the amateur ranks. He's something very, very special. And I think he had a couple of losses, very narrow losses, by the way, against big, talented fighters like Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. And I think a lot of boxing media, especially I see you out there, you took your eye off the ball, you dropped them out of your pound-for-pound rankings. Well, what? Everyone needs to be eating humble pie today, because Lomachenko, once again, with the eye test and the performance, proved once more that he is definitely one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on earth right now.
I mean, Simon, they're talking about Gervonta Tank Davis for him next. I mean, that would be something, you know. That I know, Nick, you would love that as one of the purists in the fight game media. But Simon, this would be some fight if that was to happen.
Of course it is. I mean, people forget the backstory that he was injured and had shoulder problems when he fought Teofimo Lopez. I think a lot of people think that he beat Devin Haney. And so it doesn't surprise me that he turns up and beats Kambosos Jr., who is a very good fighter in his own right, but was outclassed in this fight. So if he does get to fight against Tank Davis, it's a super fight. It's a super fight worthy of both of them, because they're both elite pound-for-pound fighters. And this sort of fights are happening more frequently now, which is good.
Nick, before we leave you today, I mean, it's nothing that I didn't expect. Conor Benn has had a provisional suspension reimposed after successful appeals by UK Anti-Doping and by the British Boxing Board of Control. So we're back to square one with Conor Benn, are we not?
Yeah, we are, unfortunately. You know, we're in a situation where he, once again, can't fight in Britain. His career seems to be stalling once more. You know, we've talked about it extensively on the podcast. I know you guys have talked about it extensively on this very show. We just need to get it done now, don't we? Conor Benn needs to sit down with the British Boxing Board of Control, sit down with UKAD, put his cards on the table and take whatever punishment is coming his way. Because clearly the British Boxing Board have grown a set of stones. They're not going to back down. This needs to be sorted for his career to move forward. He's been horrifically advised throughout this entire journey, let's not forget. Now, let's just get him down, sit down, bring his evidence to court. Let's just, albeit have his day in court, get his punishment, and then we can all move on. He's not the first British boxer to pop hot, and he unfortunately won't be the last. But we need to get his career going again and stop all this talk, which has been a stench on British boxing for the last few years.
Oh, I mean, Nick, in full flow there, you've been saying the same thing, haven't you, Simon?
Yeah. I mean,
magnificent from you, Nick, incidentally.
But absolutely. I mean, I've said it to him. I've said it to Conor specifically, to him, that he's been badly advised. He knows he's been badly advised.
You met up with him, didn't you, and had a chat?
He's been badly advised by people that were looking to profit as a result of him. He now finds himself in a situation where the British Boxing Board of Control had an existential threat. If they didn't have the minerals to take this to task, then what was the purpose?
Who was advising him?
I think people that were prospering as a result of him. I think he got bad legal representation. I think he took his own advice, and I think his promoter didn't help him. And I think all of those contributed to an outcome that put Conor into a situation where he believes he's the victim of a conspiracy theory that dates back to what happened to his father many, many years ago with the British Boxing Board of Control and all of that rubbish. And the bottom line is the British Boxing Board of Control had an existential threat. If they and UKAD, if this was allowed to be overcome on a jurisdiction issue, then the British Boxing Board of Control had what? So tragically for Conor, they did develop some minerals. And now what you've got to do is you've got to man, and we are sat in this very studio, as Nick will remember, with his representation saying they have got medically provable evidence that metabolites introduced into his system via the drug chloroform could not have come in via anything other than food ingestion.
Yeah.
Then go ahead and prove it.
Then go ahead and prove it. Nick, one sentence. The first prediction of the week, but come on, who does it? Fury or Usyk?
Oof, I'm going to be backwards and forwards all week, but I was looking at Tyson this morning. He's in great shape. A good big one beats a good little one. So I'm going to go today with Tyson Fury. I'll have changed all week, I'm telling you. It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
Nick Peet, as always, thank you so much. Nick Peet with us live on the show.
Jim, can I come in there? I watched that Lauren Price fight on Saturday night.
Yeah.
She can fight.
Absolutely.
She can't. I mean, I know nothing about boxing, but what struck me, and when we're talking about Lomachenko as well, tell me, you know a lot more about it. Movement, feet movement is so important.
Absolutely.
Lauren Price, our footwork was fantastic. She's got really quick hands, and I was quite taken. What I was surprised at, it was a doddle for her. This McCaskill girl, who's a serial winner, I can't see it in her.
But look at women's boxing. Look at Clarissa Shields. Look at Chantel Cameron. Look at Katie Taylor. Look at Natasha Jonas. Look at Alicia Baumgarten. These are really top-level fighters now. They've got the ability to be able to hit and not be hit at times.
This girl can fight.
Yes, she can.
She can
Yes,
fight.
indeed.
She's not lost her round.
No,
7
wonderful.
fights, not
Lauren
lost
Price.
her round.